Welcome to my channel Kola Flipper. My name's Lee. I'm a part-time UK reseller. It's the last weekend of August and it's the bank holiday weekend, so I have hit the car boot sale hard this morning. I've spent about £105 and I've just done a very quick calculation. I reckon it's going to get me about £700 odd back. That's before obviously fees and taxes, etc. But I think that's not too bad for a morning's work. So I'll again really varied stuff today. Exercise equipment, sports bits and pieces, men's shoes, ladies' shoes, mid-century glassware, electronics, cameras, high-end clothing, middle of the range clothing, toys, this that and the other. So yes, and some varied bits. So I'm probably going to have to break this down into two different videos. So yeah, otherwise it's going to be probably over an hour long. So I'll try and keep it quick and sensible. So I'll go on to the first bit. It's this contraption. Now, this is it's an exercise device. Basically, it's if you've got a bicycle, you put the rear hub into this and it goes onto this roller and it's got magnetic resistance. So essentially if you're at home and you don't have room for an exercise machine, you can use your normal road bike to use as an exercise machine. But it's also for people who, for example, might do a lot of road training, but if the weather's bad or for whatever reason they can't get out on the road, you can just put your bike onto this and use it as an exercise bike, essentially as a training machine. This is by a company called, I think it's something Elite, but they seem to go secondhand, this one. If you do it, because it's quite large and bulky, it looks like you don't get a lot of money if it's collection only, because obviously you're only looking at a local area for people who can actually get it. But if you're willing to post it, and it does fold down, it's still big and bulky, so if it's collection only, maybe 30 quid. If you're willing to post it, it looks like it goes somewhere between sort of 65 and 80. So this does look like it's going to be a bit of a winner. The guy was asking 15, I offered 10 and we settled on 12 in the end, which I think was fair. He was happy with that, I'm happy with that. I'm trying to figure out whether I use it to try and loosen this lockdown belly, but otherwise that should get me a decent bit of profit there. Other bits of sports equipment I've got today. I've never ever bought ice hockey skates before. Well, I don't know if they're ice hockey, so ice skates before. And these are by Bauer. I know Bauer from my sort of teenage years when my friends had Bauer roller skates, so I know they're a decent brand. And I just assumed that would translate over to ice skating as well. And I'm pretty sure I've seen George Ross have some success selling Bauer skates. So paid £3 for them. They're not in brilliant condition, but they're not in terrible condition. They've only got, one of them's got the blade protector, the other one hasn't. So there's some knocks and marks to it, but I only paid £3. I cannot see how I can fail with that. So at £3 out, I don't know which specific Bauer model they are, but I need to do a little bit of digging. It seems that the prices vary depending on how high up the range they are. So anywhere between sort of 30 and sort of £70. I guess these are towards the lower end of that price bracket. But at £3 out, I can't see how I can really fail on that. So that's a nice little pickup. Now, what else have I got today? Not a lot of money in this, but it's a quick and easy flip, and that is Casio Scientific Calculator. We're coming back up for the next school year. Scientific calculators are the standard things that kids are going to be needing for their GCSEs and that sort of level of maths. Basically, it was £1, 50p to £1. I'm quite happy picking it up. You can usually sell them for between sort of £7 and £8 or thereabouts plus postage. So it's not going to make you a lot of money, but it's 2 or 3 photos, front, back. I usually make sure they don't have Tipp-Ex on, because sometimes people write their names in Tipp-Ex and it can be a bit of a sod to get off, and you're not going to get as much money as if it's got marks on it. So if it's clean and easy, yes, I'm not going to make an awful lot of money, but there's pretty much zero effort in that. So yeah, for 50p to £1, I'd definitely pick those up. What else do we do next? Next, a pair of men's Clark's shoes. Leather upper, stitched on sole, and it's a combination sole, so we've got leather and we have rubber. And these are in pretty good condition. I'll bring it up so you can have a look. So in reasonable condition, no terrible scuffs anywhere, and that's what I mean about the combination sole. So we've got leather and we've got the rubber sole. They're not going to be the greatest of shoes to sell, but it's a decent size, a size 9. So at £3 out, I shouldn't have too much issue with getting somewhere between 20, 25, maybe even 30. Once I've given them a good nourish and polish, I'll get these looking fantastic, and they should be a relatively quick and easy flip. Now next item are some pretty fancy pants jelly shoes. Now these are Vivienne Westwood, and they're from her Anglomania range. But they're actually, as a kid, you may have had jelly shoes. They're made of that sort of material, so they're a jelly shoe, high heel. Heel tips are in good condition, no splits or cracks in the plastic. Vivienne Westwood, it's a sought after high end designer brand. So these little jelly shoe peep toes should go quite well. I paid up for these. I paid £14 for these, but they should go for somewhere between the £40 and £60 mark. That's what the comps show, but because I take good photos, I reckon I'll be able to get towards the higher end of that bracket. So it's more than I would usually like to pay for an item, but being a proper decent designer such as Vivienne Westwood, I really should be able to command that sort of money. So it should be a decent profit on there. But I'll bring these up so you can have a quick closer look at these. So these are a jelly shoe, so you can see the jelly or the plastic material. You can see Vivienne Westwood Anglomania. This model's called the Melissa. That is the, let's see if I can get that, there we go, that's the Vivienne Westwood emblem. But yeah, very sparkly, which is going to be attractive to buyers. I'll be able to get these looking fantastic. Minimal wear, plenty of life left in the heel. So yeah, although I've paid up for these, I should be able to get some decent margin there. So definitely keep an eye out. So if you ever see that sort of symbol on anything, you know it's Vivienne Westwood, and that's the sort of logo you're going to be looking for in the back of a top or a dress or a coat. But yeah, definitely keep an eye out if you see it. Now my next two pickups are thanks to another UK reseller, Ian, Master of Pieces. I was fortunate enough to be invited onto a live stream the other day on the Reselling White Boys channel, and other guests were Ian, the Master of Pieces, and also Zahir Malik. So what I thought was going to be an hour's chat ended up being a 2.5 hour ramble. But it was good fun. But got to know Ian a little bit, and he picks up quite a lot of puzzles. And I kind of really haven't bothered with puzzles before. I bought the odd one, and I made the mistake of buying a 1,000-piece puzzle that was open, and then I was petrified about sending it out without checking that all 1,000 pieces were there. And Ian had now mentioned that actually, just because it says it's got 1,000 pieces doesn't mean it's a 1,000-piece puzzle. It may have more than 1,000. So even if you count your 1,000 pieces, which took a long time, it may not be 1,000 pieces. It might be 1,002, 1,010 piece. So that kind of put me off them. However, it did make me think, well, then I'm quite, after Ian had mentioned that you can sell puzzles for say 1,000 piece for a sort of 15 to 20 odd pounds, I did think, well, maybe they're worth picking up if they're sealed. And I managed to get 2 sealed puzzles today. So I've got a 1,000 piece, what's this one called, sailing boats. I've had a look, and comps for this one seem to go for around the 15 to 17 pound mark sealed, so happy with that. And we've got another one here called Lane of Light. It's a classic collection of light. So it looks like there are 4 different puzzles or jigsaws to collect. And again, it's a 1,000-piece jigsaw. Both of these are £1 each. And actually, whilst I normally try to make £20 profit per item, it depends on how easy it is to flip. There is no work for me to do here. So with, for example, a pair of trainers, I'm going to make my £20 profit, but I need to clean them, I need to take lots of photos, all that sort of, it takes time. Where with something like this, a puzzle which is sealed, it is literally going to be a photo of the front, photo of the back, and a 1-line description. So getting these listed is going to be nice and simple for me, and it will make me some decent profit for not an awful lot of work. So yeah, sealed puzzles, you probably all know about it, but I've not really bothered before. So yeah, it's something I'm going to keep an eye out for. I'm not going to pay too much for them, but if I'm getting about £1 or so each, then definitely worth me picking up. Next item is this. It's not what I thought it was. When I saw that initially, it was on Nick Hill's and Andrew Hill's channel a couple of weeks ago, and they picked up, I think it was probably about maybe a foot tall, slightly bigger vase, and it was a Czech mid-century vase, and that's immediately what I thought of. And I remember at the time thinking, oh, that looks interesting. Did a little bit of research, and it looks like they were relatively valuable. That's what I thought this was. Saw it on this is one of my very early pickups of the, well, I saw it very early on, probably before 7 o'clock, and the guy was asking £4 for it. I didn't know whether it was one of these Czech vases or not, and I said, would you take 2? No. I asked him if he'd take 3. No. Didn't even make any sort of inkling he'd accept an offer. So I thought, okay, no, thanks very much, it's quite nice. Walked off. When I finished up there at about 11ish, long day at the car boot sale today, so I was there from just before 7 until 11 something. It was still there. I walked past, picked it up again. He said, "Are you still interested?" And I said, "Not at the £4. Would you take 3?" And he was like, "Yeah." So he obviously didn't want to take it home, so I bought that. I've done a little bit of digging now, and it's not quite what I thought it was. So I was hoping, not knowing, but hoping it might be this Czech glass. I can't remember the exact manufacturer, but it was something I'd be able to find it out if I needed to. Having Googled it and had a look at images, it seems to be by a manufacturer called Whitefriars, or it's either a manufacturer called Whitefriars or it's a style Whitefriars. It's almost like tree bark, I guess. It's a very, very textured glass finish. I can't find many clear ones, and the clear ones that I see don't look exactly the same, and they don't go for a huge amount of money. The ones that do go for a lot of money, again, this sort of textured finish, but coloured glass, so your blues, oranges, purples, turquoises, that sort of colour, they seem to go anything from sort of your £25–30, and again the bigger ones as well, sort of £50–60–70, some of them over 100, depending on the size and the style. So definitely something to keep an eye out for, this sort of mid-century textured glass vase, but I don't know if this one's really going to be particularly valuable. I'll keep an eye out, but at the end of the day, I can't lose money on the £3. I'm probably not going to make an awful lot of money, but I thought that was worth a punt. So I'll just bring it up so you can have a look. About 6 inches tall. You see it's all textured. Couldn't see any maker's mark on the bottom anywhere. And I checked for any chips and dings around the top. But it's in good condition, but I just don't think it's particularly valuable. But I guess, can you see the texture? It looks a bit like a clear piece of tree, I guess, tree bark. But yeah, I think it's called Whitefriars. So whether it's a style or a manufacturer, I don't know. Need to do a bit of digging. Don't think it's particularly valuable though. But if you see coloured ones, then definitely pick them up, as they do seem to have a lot more value. So I've got a couple of camera pickups, or camera related pickups. First one is this. It's by a company called GoPro. I'm one of my other self-employed businesses is as a wedding photographer, and my professional camera backpack is GoPro. It's basically the industry standard. It's the best that you can get without going for the silly arty-farty type brands. So always keep an eye out for GoPro. It's a really good brand. This is the right sort of size for either a mirrorless camera, a little DSLR, or you could get a camcorder in there. You've got little pouches for memory cards, that sort of thing. So yeah, that was quite a nice little pickup. Only £1. So this size should usually go for around the 15 to £20 mark. So again, it's not a massive amount of profit, but the reality is that's in relatively clean condition. I need to give it a quick once over with a brush, maybe a Hoover attachment on the brush attachment on the Hoover, on the vacuum cleaner. Give it a quick once over, couple of photos, easy to list, unbreakable in the post, £1 out into 15 to £20. So that's quite a nice little pickup. So keep an eye out for anything by GoPro. Next two camera related items are from the same store. We've got two Olympus cameras. So this one is an Olympus Trip MD. It's got a mechanical action, so you pull that trigger down and the lens cap opens. On the front you've got your film ISO, so you can change the sensitivity. Again, you've got a pop-up flash, and I thought that looked pretty cool. So I was looking at this, and as I was looking at the camera, I saw he had another Olympus next to it, boxed. I opened this one up and I could see that the batteries had corroded in there. So pop this down for the moment, but put it out of sight so no one else could get their dirty little hands on it. Not often that you get a camera boxed. So these are both 35mm film cameras. So this is an Olympus Trip AF51, AF for autofocus. In the box you've got the original pouch, got all the documentation, instructions, warranty bits and pieces, and you've got the actual camera there. So this one I did check, there again were batteries in there, but these had not corroded. Little bit of damage on the front, and I asked how much he wanted for the cameras. He said £3 each. £3 is worth a pump, because Olympus, I mean, it's not like this is a Mewtwo. A Mewtwo, you're looking at over your £100, well over £100. I've had some decent success with Olympus cameras, some Pentax cameras and Minoltas, and depending on the quality and the size and whether they've got zooms, anywhere between the sort of 18 to £65 mark. It does vary depending on the type of camera. Looking at these, I would have guessed I should be able to get around the £20 mark without too much of a problem. That's what I've got recently. But obviously this one had the corrosion, so I spoke to the guy and said, oh okay, that's fine. Pop this open in front of him. Oh no, this one's corroded. This is I don't know if this is fixable. And he looked quite upset, and I said, well, tell you what, would you take £4 for the pair? And he's like, yeah, go on, take it. Because what's he going to do with that? Anyone else is going to look at that and walk away. If you've got someone offering you a pound to get that, then that's something that's potentially not working. For me, it's worth the £1 risk. For him, he doesn't want to sit there with something that he knows is broken, is unlikely to sell. When the batteries leak, it's not battery acid, it's battery salts, and you can essentially neutralise them with vinegar. So what I'll end up doing is getting the batteries out and then cleaning the contacts with cotton buds that I've soaked in basically vinegar. So you clean them up and you actually hear it fizzing as it starts to dissolve it. And once I've given them a good clean and got rid of the corrosion, I'll clean them up again with isopropyl alcohol to get them as clean as possible. And then I'll battery test these. So I won't film test them because film testing will cost a lot of money. A, you've got to buy the film. B, you've got to go and get it processed. And do I really want to do that when I'm only going to make 15 to 20 quid? No, I don't. So I will sell them as battery tested, that everything's working, but not film tested. So should be able to get somewhere in the region of 15 to 20 pounds each on these at least, possibly a little bit more on that one. Don't know, I need to have a look. The MD, because it's got the sort of mechanical pop-up flash and that, it might be a little bit more quirky, so I do need to do a little bit more digging on that. But yeah, the pair of them for £4, quite happy with that. So hopefully that will be £4 into somewhere between 30 and 40 pounds, I would have thought, as a minimum, maybe a little more. But the reality is, if I can't get that working, that's another £1 down the drain. So it was a risk worth taking. And actually I can tell that is originally sold by Dixon's because of the security label, and I used to put those on when I worked in Dixon's 20 something years ago. So yeah, that's a bit of a blast from the past, that. So the last two items from this half of the haul, I'll do a second video for the remainder of the haul at another point, because there's just too much to do in one go. Yeah, not sure if I've done a bit of a boo-boo here. It might be a complete waste of time. It was Penguin postcards, and it's basically 100 postcards, which are the covers of classic books. I've got to be honest, some of these I have never ever heard of. So where it comes into the file, I've paid £2.50 for that, because this was one of my early buys. I probably shouldn't have bought it, to be honest. Brand new, you can get this bought and delivered for about 9 quid, and I've just paid £2.50 for it. So clearly, being already open, I can't sell that for an awful lot, or make an awful lot. And that got me thinking that there are other resellers who will sell vintage postcards and individually. So what I was thinking is, maybe it looks like some of these people sell them at £1 each plus postage, and you think, well, that's not an awful lot of money, but it will all add up. Let's say I sell 30% of these, so let's say I sell 33 at £1 each. That's £33 income for £2.50 out. But that's an awful lot of hassle. I know it's not a huge amount of hassle sticking it in an envelope and posting it off, but it's not ideal. So for every single pound coming in, I've got to send out another piece of mail, which isn't going to be very efficient time wise. So potentially it's worth me looking at bundling up a few by the same author, seeing if I can do a £3 for 5 from the same author, see how that goes. But this may be a massive fail, or at worst, if I find a couple in there that I like, books that mean something to me or the family, maybe I'll get them framed and put up in the house. But if I like to put a classic book cover on the wall in a frame, maybe someone else will. So there is something to think about. But if I can do that, anyone can do that. And to be honest, the market may already be flooded, so this could be an absolute waste of time. So that could be a £2.50 fail. Last item for this half of the pickup is this. It's a little compact, and what made me look at it was basically the detail, the weight of it. You can feel its quality, and it's got pearls or faux pearls more likely, and it's got some diamond looking things on there. It's probably not actual diamonds, and there's 2 of them missing, so that doesn't help. Probably should have looked at that in a little more detail. The front has got some nice ribbing detail to it, and this is by a company called Volupte, VOLUPTE, USA. So inside you've got your mirror. There's the Volupte on there, USA, and inside you've got your little powder bit. I'll bring this up. It's clearly vintage. Weight of it's good quality. It means it's going to have a proper glass, and it's a beveled mirror as well. indicating quality, whereas something more modern is probably going to be a mirror film on the back of a piece of acrylic or plastic, which is not going to be as good a quality. I did have a quick look whilst I was out in the field, and the prices varied wildly. I took a punt at £2, but it could go for 25, 30, it could go for 50, it might go for 15. I don't know how it's going to be with the two missing little, they're not diamonds, whatever they are, but so it's quite nice, sort of this ribbed effect. I really like that actually. As you can see here, these are missing, these two, but I couldn't find anything that directly compares, but I found similar things, so this is quite cool. That opens up, and then you can see the volupte there, and you got your little powder bit. So I thought that was worth £2. Maybe not with those two little missing bits. Should go for at least 15, but it does look like, depending, there was the same manufacturer. It was a compact bit. It looked like two closed hands, and that one seems to go for £50 upwards. So the manufacturer is definitely sought after. I just don't know if this particular model is, and especially if there's two little missing diamond looking bits, it may not be any good. If I can get rid of it for £15, I'll be happy with that. I might even take an offer, we'll see. I'll stick it up, see how, as there weren't any comparables, I'll stick it up, see how it goes. If nothing happens after a couple of months, I'll knock it out to get rid of it. But it's small to store, so I don't mind it sitting there for a little while. So I took a punt on that, but we shall see. So that's the first half of the haul. As I said, I spent £105 or thereabouts, and I reckon it's going to be the high 600s, maybe £700 total sales value when I'm done. I've got a great big bag of clothing, some other shoes and bits and pieces, and I've picked up some really nice little bits, so I shall do that in the next video. Hopefully that was useful for you, gives you a little bit of an insight into what's going on in my mind when I'm out in the field looking to pick up bits and pieces to sell, and how I balance up my risk versus reward. I will spend more money on something if I believe I can make a higher margin, but there are times when I think, well, that's just too much, and I'd rather invest a smaller amount into multiple other items, because then once one of them sells, that pays for all the other bits. Everything's free essentially after that, whereas a single item could be sitting on my shelf for a long time. So sometimes if you're spending £20, that might be better on £4 or £5 items than one single £20 item, depending on how quick you need to get your cash turned around. I tend to go at the higher end of the price brackets, because I don't mind sitting on it. This isn't my main income. I've got a day job. My day job covers all the main bits and pieces, doesn't leave a lot left over, but it means that I'm not relying on my reselling income, which means that I don't have to jump at low ball offers. I'm happy to wait and sit and get the money that I want. So yeah, just depending on how your reselling is, you need to think about, how quick do I need to move stuff? If I need to move it quicker, you're going to have to price it lower, and you're going to get a lower margin. For me, I'm rich on accessibility to high quality items. I'm poor on time, so I need to make a high amount of margin per item. That's why I think that's probably going to be a bit of a time suck, because it would mean I'd have to photograph 100 different postcards, and I think that might be a bit of a fail there. I like to be able to get something quick and out if I'm not going to make a lot of money. If I'm going to make more money, I don't mind it sitting for a while, but that works for me. It may not necessarily work for you, but hopefully that's been useful to you. If it has, please could you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. My videos I try and always explain not just what I've bought and how much I've paid and what I think it will sell for, but why I've made the decision. So hopefully it will help you either learn from my mistakes, or you might be able to pick up something like that, which it looks like it's going to be a pain in the bum to post, but if it means that I can sell it for 60, 70, 80 pounds instead of £30 collection, then that might be a really good little buy for £12. So yeah, that's it for the moment. So I'll have a second video out soon. Thumbs up please if you can, and yeah, if you've got any questions or anything to put in the comments, please do. Thanks very much. My name's Lee and you've been watching me on Kola Flipper.